Yo, yo, long time no see. Hopefully you're doing well. I just want to talk a little bit. I kind of have come to some thoughts, and it's interesting. Come to some thoughts. Getting ready to go into a new season. I feel it. Oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to go into a new season, and I'm excited. But a little nervous as well. So I haven't been making a lot of videos lately because I've been in a kind of a different place, I guess. Long story short. Well, I've been in this other group called Marco Polo, which is a video chatting app I mention sometimes, and a lot of my friends are in there from the singles conference I went to. It's how I met my now girlfriend, future wife, and super excited. But so we have deep talks in that group. It's really awesome. It's really awesome actually. There's a lot of really good deep conversations. And the thing I'm starting to realize though is that I'm having a lot of deep thoughts and I'm trying to share them, but they're too deep and they're too long to share. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making videos and trying to hash them out more. And I don't want to waste it's not wasting time, but I don't want to waste my time doing it in the group because it just makes the group way too big and too long-winded. And this way I can shape my thoughts much better, and then I can share them much more concisely in the group. So anyway, you guys get to enjoy the long version, basically, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, because if you're still listening, there you go. Choose not to. Click off if you want. Anyway, it's good to be back on here. But we were talking about the concept of love is a choice, yes or no. Great question, right? And so we were just going through that a bit. And I was thinking, I can also share more personal things here, which is nice. I was thinking about to get personal here. I was thinking about my first marriage and about how things ended, and it wasn't really, I still kind of wonder about it sometimes. What I wonder about is, could things have worked out between she and I? And I don't know. I don't know if they could have. I mean, I want to say yeah, you know. I want to say of course they could have if I had just tried, or if we had just gotten through the hard patch, or if we had just gotten through the hard times that we were going through, then sure, absolutely it would have worked. If we had just gone to therapy, it would have worked. You know what I mean? All these things. And I do feel a certain degree of guilt for it not working out, because but this is the important thing to hash out, and this is what I need to hash out, because I blame myself for what I didn't do or what I did do, and things not working out. And honestly, I can't even remember exactly what happened. I remember some things about it, but I do just remember being really frustrated and just feeling kind of blah and lonely and just kind of removed and negative, and feeling I can't imagine continuing to live this life, basically, with my wife at the time, I guess. And that sounds really intense, and this is all just really hard to talk about, so trying to get through it. But in the whole love is a choice, yes or no conversation, I got to the point where I mentioned something, and it was along the lines of sometimes things are just not meant to be. And that's actually a really relieving thought for me, because you can blame yourself. You can feel guilty for things not working out between you and someone else. But what if it just wasn't meant to be? You know? And that's an interesting question. And it gets deep philosophically. So if you're all you guys theological people, God has a plan for us, and we have choices. And He doesn't force us to do things, but there are things that happen in this life. And our choices are the most powerful things we have. What we decide to do, it's like such an amazingly powerful thing, which is why it's so important to pray about the things we choose before we choose them, the big decisions, etc. You know, and pray. If you really can't decide what color of couch you should buy, pray about it, right? But like, there's certain things that aren't as heavily pressing or as heavily weighted, you know. But this whole thing about meant to be suggests predestination in a certain way. It suggests that things are meant to be a certain way, like there is a better way. And so really, I guess that works though. It doesn't necessarily have to be predestination. It can be that maybe it wasn't meant to be with me and my first wife. Because if it was meant to be, it would be, right? And it isn't. And it wasn't. It was for a time, but then it wasn't. And then it didn't last, etc., etc. But, let's see. I was not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is the best decision I've ever made in my life, the biggest, most pivotal, life-changing decision I've ever made in my life. I wasn't a member of the church back then. I am now, and I'm so much different now. And I'm a different person in so many ways now than I was then. And like, there's a lot different. Obviously, I'm a much different person than I was then. And I did kind of spiral after the marriage ended. I did kind of, I guess you could say I spiraled. I wasn't a practicing Christian, and then I became kind of anti-Christian and anti-God and atheist, and not just atheist, but anti-God. And kind of went my own way with things. But I really think that in a lot of ways, I thought that relationship was going to save me, or it was going to give me meaning, or it was going to save me. It was going to give me something I didn't have. And it did, but it also didn't. Like, it gave me opportunities for amazing experiences that came to me, and those amazing experiences happened. They actually happened. Sorry about the video here, but it's going to be how it's going to be, guys. I got to fly to California with her on a plane. I got to do all these things that I feel like I would have never gotten to do otherwise. Because the life I was living at the time was very, very limited. And yeah, there were good aspects, there were fun times, there were cool things that happened. I was still young. I was like 18 when I met her. And, still figuring out life, figuring out everything, all that stuff, right? And you're 18. 18 years old is young. That's young. But half of my life ago, I was 18. Crazy now. And, yeah, so I'm glad, because right now I'm driving home, and I'm still getting used to this route. But now I'm recognizing my surroundings enough to where I know how to get home without any worry at all. Talking about when I first met her and stuff like that. I got to experience a lot of really awesome things because of her. But long story short, I just don't think it was meant to be, because, and I've never been able to say this, I've never been able to get to this point, I've never really talked this, I have never talked this through before, and that's a big deal, and this is a big deal. It's a really exciting thing, and this is therapy, in a way. Sorry to be like, hey guys, you're part of my therapy right now, but anyway, for real though, this is very therapeutic, honestly. Let's see. So, I don't think it was meant to be. And I don't know what could have happened. I don't know what would have been. But I do know that I lived in Reno. I lived far away from home. I loved my family. I missed my family. And I was so determined that I was that guy who could live away from his family and not worry about it, right? I was that guy, right? And it was going to get better, and things were going to get better, and I was going to make more money, and things were going to get easier, and all this kind of stuff. And we were going to build and grow and build and grow. What happened is we stopped. We stopped building and growing. We got to the point where we kind of topped out. And then it was like, well, nothing exciting is really happening anymore. And that's really, really, really freaking sad. Really sad. And now imagine living your life in that. Nothing really exciting is happening anymore. It's tough. It's tough. And, you know, maybe those words don't do it justice, but it was tough. And I felt alone. And I started feeling like I'm making this green light right now, and I'm like so surprised that I am. It hasn't even turned yellow yet. Still hasn't even turned yellow. It still ain't yellow. Dang, that's the longest green arrow of all time. Amazing. Woohoo! I was just in this place where I felt like I was growing, I was changing. I had done some things that I would have never done before in my life, and easily you, me, or anyone could really blame the fall of my relationship on a couple of decisions that I made. And I don't know if it was those decisions that caused the relationship to end, but I do think that the decisions being I chose to take a hallucinogenic drug with a friend of mine. And that's something out of character that I would have never done ever in a million years, but I eventually felt comfortable enough with him that it felt like it was, I knew my wife would never approve, and so I didn't really tell her about it, and that was the start of a not good trend. But it helped me see things differently. It helped me think about things differently. It helped me, yeah, it did. It helped me think about things differently. It helped me think about things differently. It helped me imagine things differently. It helped me look at things differently. And because of that, I think I got to the point where it changed me in a good way, in a positive way. Because I felt so much better. I felt so much more relieved. I felt like it was a weight off my shoulders. I felt like my mind had just been opened, and I was able to see things. I was able to think about some things that I just hadn't been able to think about before for whatever reason. It blew my mind, basically. It opened my mind. And I'm not pro-drug, I'm just recounting stories, recounting experiences. And I just felt like my mind was open, and I felt like I can see things now, and it made me feel so lucid. I was finally lucid. I could actually think about things instead of being so stuck and rigid and worried about this, worried about that, afraid of this, can't do this because she'll think that, can't say this because she'll say that, I can't do this because this will happen, I can't do that because that will happen. If I do this, then this will happen. If I do that, that will happen. I can't do this because that will happen. And if I do that, that will happen. That was the life I was in before. And then afterwards, I was I kind of just thought about things. I was just I'm not worried. I'm just not worried about things. And I had a really good mindset and personality, or a really good perspective about things. And so this was a weird thing because this thing had happened to me. I caused this thing to happen. I chose this thing. And it changed me. And it was something that I couldn't necessarily share with her because she would be really upset, frustrated, and angry, and confused, and sad, and betrayed, and all these things I couldn't imagine. To me, it was like, this is not that big of a deal. This isn't as big of a deal as people act like it is. This is actually what it is, and it's actually not as bad as people say that it is. That's what I thought at the time, you know? But I felt like I couldn't tell her that. I couldn't explain that. I couldn't share that with her. She'd freak out and get mad at me. And so much of our relationship was built on, so much of I feel like I spent a lot of time worrying about what she thought, worrying about her happiness, trying to make her happy, trying to keep her happy. Because like they say, happy wife, happy wife, happy life. And there's a lot of truth to that. And as a husband, you have responsibilities. And I just feel like I was living a life that I wasn't ready for. And I was trying, but it just wasn't working. And eventually I got to this place where I just kind of did my thing, came over work and played some Call of Duty, got on the computer. I finally didn't work nights anymore. I worked during the day. I felt like things were supposed to get so much better because I didn't work nights anymore. But they didn't really get so much better. We had a house now. We moved out of our apartment and we moved into a house. And we saw each other and our schedules were fairly similar. But I just feel like things didn't really get that much better. They just felt like, I don't know. And this is where the argument, the love you get is the love you give. Like when you put something into something, then you're going to get something out of it. When you don't put something into it, you're not going to get anything out of it. And I was struggling, I think. I think I just got tired from work and from, I guess, my life at the time. I guess. And I was just kind of overwhelmed and morose and tapped out and just kind of depressed, I guess. I guess I was depressed. And I didn't even realize it because it was just life, It's just life. And you don't know. Sometimes you don't know when you're depressed. And that's hard because you just think it's life. And a lot of things made me happy, and I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with her cousin. He was my buddy. We would go to the river. We would do this. We would do that. I was seeking experience. I was seeking joy. I was seeking fun. And I felt like I couldn't find it with her. I felt like no matter what I did, it wasn't working. It was like I didn't want to do the things that she wanted to do, and she didn't want to do the things that I wanted to do. And the things that I liked, she didn't like. And the things that she liked, I didn't like, or I wasn't that interested in. I was just kind of okay, this doesn't give me satisfaction. And I also felt like there was a really, really strong shallowness to things. I don't think I've been able to say this before, but I haven't. But it just felt like things were empty, you know what I mean? It just felt like things were oh my gosh, wow, really? This is the highlight of our life? Or this is the highlight of our week? We're going to go over to your aunt and uncle's house for dinner. Or it's your grandmother's birthday. And that might sound cold and callous or something like that. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a point. And the point is, we didn't really do things. We didn't really have fun. We didn't really have time for fun. We didn't really go on adventures. We just didn't. And I guess, I'm as responsible for that as she was. I guess. But at the same time, this is kind of my point when I was talking about, sometimes things just don't work out. And it's sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes you just try. And that makes me struggle because I feel no, if you really want it bad enough, you'll make it work. And that's the argument a lot of people use. They say, well, if you really want it, you'll make it work. If it really means enough to you, you'll put in the work and you'll figure it out. If you really want to succeed, then you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, you know. But sometimes people don't figure it out. And I think that's the lesson. And it's kind of like a death. It's kind of like how in America, everything ends with a happy ending, pretty much. Pretty much. We're used to that. We were raised on happy endings in stories, that things work out. But like my friend made this point to me before. He was like, I don't know if it's Japanese cinema, Japanese probably. He's like, or Asians, just Asian cinema in general, we'll say. But like he said, basically, like in some, I think it was Japanese. In Japanese movies, he's like, things don't work out. He's like, terrible things happen, and then that's the end of the movie. He's like, you know, you think that this guy is gonna like survive, and like he does survive, and he like kills his enemy, but then like his family dies, and then like his everyone else is killed in front of him or something like that, and like that's it. He just has to live that way, and it's really dark, really dark. And so I guess maybe another point I might be making is that sometimes things are just dark. Like sometimes things just don't work out. Like sometimes things just die. Sometimes things just end. And it doesn't mean like they just randomly end and there's nothing you can do about it, you know, because there's always stuff you can do about things. But sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes no matter what you do, it's not going to work. And I feel unsatisfied. I don't feel completely satisfied in saying that, because I still feel like, no, there's something I could have done. I should have tried harder. I should have been more committed to her. I should have tried harder to be happy. I should have tried harder, you know. And I think the whole sentence right there, I should have tried harder to be happy, is a big glimpse into that whole world. Because if you've got to try hard to be happy, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I think that you should be happy, yeah. And life isn't all about happiness. Like, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not. I mean, obviously, you're supposed to be happy. And happiness is temporary. Like, sometimes it comes and it goes, and you go through seasons where it's challenging. But there should be things in your life that bring you joy. There should be enough things in your life to bring you joy. And like I said before, and to this point, I was not a member of the church. And that makes a big difference. That makes a really big difference in people's lives. Because when you're a member in the church, it just makes a difference. You have more opportunities for joy. You have more opportunities for so many things. And yes, it's harder. Yes, there's challenges and more challenges and things like that. But being a member in the church is not supposed to be joyless. It's not supposed to be a sad existence. And I think by far, not being a member of the church, for the most part, and everybody's got their own cup of tea, their own flavor of preference. So sometimes people just don't want to be a member of the church. Sometimes people do. And sometimes they're happy not in the church. Sometimes they're happy in the church, you know? But my point is, I wasn't a member of the church, and the church brings me a lot of joy. And I didn't have a lot of things in my life that brought me a lot of joy, except for my friendship with Evan. But my friendship with Evan was kind of crazy, because it was like, he was like 13 and I was like 22 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there was such an age gap, or he was 15 or whatever. How old? You know what I mean? It was too big of an age gap to where it was right. Like, it wasn't right because it was too much of an age gap. But it's like, what do you mean it's not right? This dude's my friend, and this guy brings me happiness. And like, I have fun with him. I do stuff with him. I get along with him. We talk and listen to music and have a good time and go to the river and we just ride bikes. We just have an awesome time. We have an awesome time. Period. That's the point. And it's like, am I having that with my wife? Is that like what my life is with my wife? No. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's not like that. It's like, well, you didn't do this, and you can't do that, and you better do this, and you better not do that, and you know, I can't believe you're doing this, or really, seriously. And like, that's not to say she was always like that, but generally, in the long run, the picture is like, this isn't fun. This is not fun. I'm not enjoying it. I'm not having a good time. I'm going to work and I'm working hard and I'm coming home and I'm seeing you, and yeah, we go to a movie every once in a while, or we do this every once in a while, or we do that, or we're supposed to be in love with each other, or we are in love with each other, or whatever. But it's like, there's got to be more to this, and there isn't. And it's just really hard. It's hard to deal with, because it's like, there's just a lot, and you don't know where to start, and you don't know what to do, and you don't even know if there's anything you can do. I didn't know. I felt like, what can I do? I felt like, what can I do? I'm like, dude, like, I married her, I moved all the way out here with her, and like, this is my future. Like, this is what I have to do now. Like, this is my choice. I made my choice. I married her. And now if I go back on that, I was so worried about what people would think about me. I was so worried about what people would say about me. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do anything that made me happy, except for certain things. And none of those things that really made me happy had much to do with her, unfortunately. And that's really sad. And so we just end up kind of falling apart and, like, drifting apart and feeling kind of lame, feeling like I can't do what I want to do. I can't. And I know, like, when you get married, it's different. You have responsibilities, and that's what your life is. And there are blessings that come from those responsibilities. Responsibilities are not a curse. They are not a curse. And I thought that they were, and I hated them, because I couldn't see the good side of it. I couldn't see the good side. I couldn't see the blessings. But, so I know when you get married, you can't just hang out with your friends all the time. I know that. But I was just really frustrated because I didn't have any friends, and I needed friends, and I needed people in my life. Nothing against her, nothing against her family, but I needed more, and everybody can only do so much. They can only do what they can do. And I needed more. I needed someone who was going to tell me it's okay. And she did comfort me, and she did tell me things were going to be okay and things like that. I actually don't remember her ever telling me things would be okay. I can't ever really remember that, but I can tell you that I feel like she was comforting, and she was comforting. She wasn't always just like a cold, heinous jerk, or whatever you want to use. And most of the time she wasn't. It was just like, it was kind of like a slow burn of pain, or a slow burn of things dying out. And it was just hard, and it breaks my heart, because we loved each other so much, and we chose each other, and our relationship was so special, and our love for each other was so special, and it was like written in the stars, and it was like, this is so amazing, and like, you have changed my life, and like, I'm changing your life, I guess. And it was just like, you're my everything. It was just all those words, all those things that you can't put into words, all those phrases about love. And it was just tricky, because we were young, and it was like, I didn't have anyone else. I think this is a really important point. There was nobody else my age in my life that was doing the same thing as I was. First of all, I didn't have any friends that were my own, that were my age, that lived near me, like in the state. You know what I mean? Like, all my other friends, and if you didn't live in the state, it didn't matter. Because, like, I'm talking about, like, I didn't even talk to my cousin, who was the same age as I am, like, the whole time I lived out there. And part of it was, I guess, I was afraid to, but, like, I just want to hammer these points. I didn't have friends. And I had friends in her family. Her family were my friends in ways. Like, they were there in ways. Sometimes they're just family, though. Sometimes they're just her family. Sometimes they're just, this is this person who's in your life now. And I'm not saying bad things about them, but, it's just tricky. It's just tough. And so, yeah, it's hard to get through things sometimes. It's really hard to get through things sometimes. But, yeah, I'm annoyed that it didn't work out. I'm frustrated that it didn't work out. I'm angry that it didn't work out. I'm sad that it didn't work out. Let me say it again. I'm frustrated that it didn't work out. But at the same time, boy, was I ever relieved that it didn't work out. Because it was so frustrating. So it's just a complicated thing. It's complicated, you know? But I guess ultimately what I'm trying to take away from all this and get out of my system here is that I'm angry. I am angry that it didn't work out. And I don't think I've ever gotten to this place before. I don't think I've ever gotten to this place where I'm like, I'm angry that it didn't work out, ever. I've never said that before. I've never expressed that before. But I, to some extent, I don't know if I still am, but I was angry. I was angry that it didn't work out. That's a quick transition. I am angry, and now I was angry 30 seconds later. Quick transition, but it's true. I was angry that it didn't work out. I was angry that it wasn't working out. And I didn't know how to deal with that, and I didn't know what to do about it. And I had so many unconscious emotions, unexpressed emotions, which is really, really hard to deal with. Really hard to deal with. And I encourage you to do this work, by the way, because it will make your life so much freaking better. It might sound like I'm just sitting here complaining and whining and crying about my past or whatever, but let me tell you something. I'm working through stuff. And this literally makes a freaking difference. It makes a difference. I'm getting this stuff out of me, and I'm figuring it out, and I'm making sense of things, and it is a wonderful thing. So, I encourage you, with anything, deal with it. Freaking work through it. Write about it. Paint about it. Sing about it. Scream about it. Yell about it. Punch a pillow about it. Take a walk about it. I was going to say kick a dog about it. Don't kick a dog. Don't kick a dog. That's not fair to the dog. Dogs don't deserve to be kicked. But you know what I'm saying. Pour your frustrations out about it, you know? But yeah, I was just, yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of like, I wish that it worked out, because I was so frustrated that it wasn't. But at the same time, I got to the point where I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Can't do it. Can't do it. And that was really scary, and that was really crazy, and that was really insane. Because how could I say that? How could I not do it anymore? How could I just quit? How could I just like stop? How? Why? Joe Biden. Why? Why? I love that old clip. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, just frustrating. But, like I said, I got to the point where I needed to be done. I needed to not do this anymore. I needed to be done. And we get to that point sometimes where we're just like, dude, I'm done. I am done. I'm done. Can't do it anymore. And I'm glad that I part of me feels cheap because I said something about it way sooner. I quit way faster than I expected to, or than I planned to. I think in the long run, I figured out that I was stronger than I thought, because I actually did do the thing that I didn't think I was. There was this thing, and I was like, I know I need to do this, but I have no idea how. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. And it's going to change my life. It's going to change everything. I couldn't even comprehend that it's going to change my life, because I couldn't get to the point about even thinking about actually doing it. I would think about it sometimes, which was breaking up with my wife. I was thinking about it sometimes, but I couldn't fathom it. It was too incomprehensible. It's too much for me to fathom. I couldn't even fathom it, you know? And so, but I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I think I need to do this. And certain things in my life made it a little bit easier. They helped me out, for better or for worse. They helped me out to make a change and get out of this bad place I was in. Bad situation. In the long run, long story short. And get on. and get on with my life and get into whatever was next in my life, whatever that was. I couldn't even fathom what was next. I couldn't even fathom what would be next after leaving my wife. What would I possibly do then? What would I do then? Everyone's going to think I'm crazy. They're going to think something's wrong with me. They're going to be mad at me. They're going to be disappointed at me. They're going to be frustrated at me. They're going to be angry at me. They're going to be so angry at me. They're going to want nothing to do with me. These are all the thoughts that I had. I've never expressed them, really. Never really expressed these thoughts, so it's so nice to do. So, just so frustrating. But long story short, I did it. I got through it. I actually did it. And I'm just gonna say something real quick. I'm so freaking glad I got this Pepsi in my car. It literally is the little things, because like this is really making a big difference in my life right now. As dumb and silly as that is, it actually is. In this moment, it's making a huge difference. I'm so glad I have it, because I'm gonna freaking drink that Pepsi. But so random, right? So random. But so I'm just like, I'm really glad overall. I'm really glad ultimately that I made that decision. But it was not easy. It was not easy, to say the least. And I still feel it, and it still blows my mind. I guess I'm still not really over it. Still not over it all the way. It's hard when you lose someone. It's hard when you lose something. Because there's not a lot you can't bring it back, is what I'm saying. Like when someone dies, you can't bring them back. You have to grieve it. You have to mourn it. It's over. I could not mourn it. I could not grieve it. Because I think I was just in shock. I think I was in shock. And I know I needed to be there. It's crazy. I mean, I had to be there for Kate to some extent, to my wife. I had to be there for her after telling her I was done with her. To some extent. I felt so obligated to. You know what I mean? Like, you have to. You can't just wreck someone's life and walk away. Like, what are you going to do? Walk into their life and then love them and then spend 7 years with them and then one day decide you're done and then walk away and just leave them there, like, to figure it all out? Like, you can't do that. You got to take care of them. You got to make sure they're okay. But you know what? You got to take care of yourself, and you got to make sure yourself is okay. And I wasn't okay. Just wasn't okay. I needed so much. So much. And I wasn't getting it. Not the way I needed it. Anyway, so I gotta end this video. I am not done working through this, but I'm not done working through this at all, but I'm gonna end the video because I need to, because I'm like about to get some groceries here, cat food. Okay, that green arrow turned yellow, but it's still green. It's yellow, and I'm still going. I made it. Yay. Yeah. Stuff freaking happens. You can say that again. Stuff freaking happens. And that is not it's not a small thing. It's not a small deal. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So, if you watch this video, I appreciate you. I don't expect anyone to really watch this whole video, but this is really helpful for me, and I just encourage you to do the same thing. Take some time. Talk about the things that you haven't gotten through. Talk about the things you haven't gotten through.